Hello, Peter. Here is my introduction to culture shock. Culture shock refers to a person's cultural adjustment caused by moving from his inherent cultural environment to a new cultural environment. After Second World War, with the massive flow of populations, a large number of immigrants come into being. They moved from one culture to a new culture, from a culture back group to a new culture back group. What they were waiting for was a lot of cross-cultural cycles, historical problems, and the word culture shock was born. Culture shock can be in many aspects, from settlement and diet, language, clothing, behaviors, populations, diseases, political and economic environment, both physical factors and more spiritual factors. In a brand new cultural environment, culture shocks make the victims at a loss. Even the warmth, psychological balances, and warm judgment standards are completely lost. Do you think studying abroad is very exciting thing? It's like a lot of going away from homes. Do young people who start free interested as well? This facilitates new experiences. It will give you the opportunity to discover many fascinating things and gain a sense of freedom. When I come to Thailand, everything's exciting me and made me cross. However, despite this benefit, you will face challenges because you will many conflict with different beliefs, norms, norms, and traditions that extend in the different cultures. After come to Thailand, I grouped this fluid difference of culture, language, and living habits. It's hard to adapt to new culture, and part of it that you are not familiar with. This is culture shocks. The process of people experiencing seeing culture shocks introduced at least 4 main strengths. The first stage is called honeymoon. At this stage, you will feel excited to live in a different countries, course in and fresh to different environment. At everything look wonderful. You like everything, and everyone seems to be very nice to you. In addition, and the fun of life in the new culture seems to be endless. For example, any grannies, the marketing managers of an international food companies not only know some Japanese but also travel to Japan before she is appointed. Even so, she is very department because she can't travel out to do business. I work everywhere because I don't have a car. I don't even know where to buy a wasted basketball. She records that she didn't know a snitch Japan word, which means that Anne could hardly use any kind of appliance at home. Think about it, she said with a smile. There are millions of patterns of everything in Japan, even on the phones, but you can't read this. Even going to the toilet has real different expressions. However, the second state of culture shock with inventory apartment, which is the product of hostility, you start to know that not everything is as good as you thought. For different live habits and different ways of communication, you will be tired of many things in the new culture. Besides it, people no longer trust you as a good. All the things that interlinked looked very nice and no anything. And everything is upsetting and threatening to you. For example, A new work or months after taking offer. The real culture shock is just beginnings. Life in the new culture's quiet, smith, more fearless things. You may completely about everything around you. You can't find the numbers, you may get lost, you can't speak the loser's language, your peace. When you realize that you can't take care of yourself, you will balance yourself. Sometimes it's just a moment, sometimes it's just a feeling minute, and sometimes it's a going to be a continuation stations. What will every tourist learn you deeply since? As a woman side, you are completely breathed in the compressions to of delayed life, and you need to contest the date out of it. You are heartless and confused. Usually, in the process of adapting to a new culture, you will come up with some differentiative measures to help you cope with different cultures and protect yourself from the impact of culture shock. The solutions you use the drying and the hostile pins and that don't solve the problems. It doesn't matter if you just obsess links used of these copying and seductive gifts to help you service, but you have to be careful. These methods can really hurt you because they will prevent you from making the necessary adjustment to the new culture. After overcoming your hostilities, you will begin to realize the transience of culture shock. Then you go into a third person culture recoveries. At this stage, you will start to be positive and you will try to understand everything you don't understand. The real situation is starting to get better for you, and you will recover from the symptoms of the first two stage, and you start to understand that also the characteristics of this new culture are and different from those of your own countries. It must be something worth learning and protecting. The last stage of culture shock is called adaptation period. At this stage, your state will reach the level of feeling good because you have learned a lot and can understand this new culture. What internet made you uncomfortable, and unfamiliar has you become something you can understand. Now you feel at home, you have adapted to the new culture. That's my introduced culture shock. Thank you.